Today, we're looking at defense in an ESG context. Rocco, why is defense becoming one of the fastest growing investment themes in Europe?
We have seen increasing defense budgets, growing investor interest, and a rising number of investment funds either launched with a defense focus or amending their policies to allow exposure to defense-related companies. And what is particularly interesting is that this trend is no longer limited to traditional investment products. More and more ESG funds are considering or already include defense-related investments.
And why has defense traditionally been viewed as difficult to reconcile with ESG investing?
Well, at first glance, it may seem difficult to reconcile with ESG principles. Historically, many sustainability-related investment strategies relied on broad sector exclusions, and defense was often among the sector excluded. However, the regulatory discussion has evolved significantly.
What does the EU Sustainable Finance Framework actually say about defense?
The EU Commission has clarified that the EU Sustainable Finance Framework does not prohibit investments in the defense sector and should not be interpreted as required blanket exclusions. Instead, investors are expected to assess companies and activities on a case-by-case basis.
But does that mean that all defense investments are ESG incompatible?
No, absolutely not. It is important to note that this does not mean that all defense-related activities are automatically compatible with ESG considerations. Certain categories of controversial weapons, such as anti-personnel mines, cluster munition, chemical weapons, and biological weapons, remain subject to exclusion requirements under various sustainable finance frameworks and market standards. Notably, recent amendments to the PAB Paris-aligned benchmark have clarified that these categories should more accurately be understood as prohibited weapons under international law.
So, why does the EU Commission consider ESG and defense not necessarily incompatible?
Well, the rationale is that defense activities may, in certain circumstances, contribute to broader social objectives, including sovereignty, resilience, peace, security, particularly when dual-use technologies contribute to both civilians and defense capabilities. At the same time, the sector is subject to extensive regulatory oversight, including export controls, compliance requirements, and due diligence obligations.
What does this mean in practice for asset managers and investors?
That said, investing in the sector requires particular care. Asset managers should conduct enhanced due diligence, especially with regard to human rights risks, governance standards, export controls, and end-use consideration. The EU Commission has also highlighted the relevance of sustainability due diligence requirement under the CSDDD, which applies to defense companies in much the same way as other sectors, subject to certain specific carve-outs for authorized experts of military and dual-use products.
What risks should investors consider beyond regulatory compliance then?
Beyond compliance, firms should also carefully consider the financial and reputational risks. Defense investments can attract heightened scrutiny from investors, clients, civil society, and the media. An investment may be fully compliant from a regulatory perspective, yet still raise questions about its alignment with the fund's ESG strategy or broader sustainability commitments. In some cases, national security considerations or foreign investment restrictions may also affect ownership structures, governance rights, or exit opportunities. And this is also where the risk of greenwashing or social washing may arise. Simply stating that a defense investment contributes to sustainability or social objectives is unlikely to be sufficient. Instead, asset managers should be able to demonstrate a credible investment rationale supported by robust due diligence, clear disclosures, and evidence-based assessments.
What is the real challenge then going forward?
Keeping in mind the due diligence requirements and reputational risks, transparency is critical. Investors should understand why defense exposure is included, how risks are assessed, and what safeguards are applied. Well-defined investment policies and proactive communications are essential, not only from an ESG perspective, but also from a risk management and investor relations standpoint. The debate around defense and ESG is likely to remain very complex. But from a regulatory perspective, the question is no longer whether defense investments are automatically excluded from ESG strategies. The real challenge is rather ensuring that any such investments are assessed rigorously, communicated transparently, and supported by a clearly articulated investment rationale.
Thank you very much, Rocco, for your insights.
Thank you very much, Deborah.